The Spin-Off Podcast Network.
This is Kiwi is back for a brand new season with more inspiring kōrero from special guests including rugby player, father and role model TJ Perenara.
My family bring me joy. Rugby brings me joy too, but it's not the same joy as my family brings me.
And global dancer and choreographer Kirsten Dodgen.
For some reason, people think I'm very intimidating.
Listen to the new season of This is Kiwi, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in collaboration with KiwiBank. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Kia ora, I'm Alex Casey, senior writer at The Spin-Off. We wouldn't exist without the ongoing support of our generous members. If you're able to, you can make a donation at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Okay, let's do a podcast.
That was the cold open.
Kia ora koutou, welcome to The Real Pod. It's your reality TV recap and real life. Oh no, that's the old slogan, isn't it? And pop culture in Aotearoa podcast. She goes away for 1 week and she can't do her job anymore. Sorry about
And it became a gardening podcast.
I did. I've actually, the top of my real news is to talk to you about your gardening slot. I need to share with you some thoughts that I had. But welcome along to the podcast anyway. My name is Jane Yee, joined by Duncan Greive and Alex Casey. All three of us together again. Isn't it wonderful?
Just for 1 week, though.
Just for 1 week, because next week Duncan is off doing some meetings on the outside.
I am.
How are you, Alex?
I'm good, thank you, Jane. Nice to see you both together. You're feeling better?
I'm feeling better. You're feeling better.
Can I plug an Alex Casey story?
Yes.
Published on the internet just mere an hour ago about the rise of Facebook groups where people check whether their boyfriend has another girlfriend.
Or boyfriend.
Or boyfriend, but largely it's checking for other girlfriends, and it's really, really good. And it made me very happy to think we'd published it, and it's just riveting and just very interesting and like a story of our time.
What's the TLDR, Alex, on that one? As in, I just haven't read it yet.
World's gone crazy.
Yeah.
That's the TLDR. It's trying to solve a lot of problems, and it's like revealing all these interesting issues within technology and relationships and modern dating and women's spaces. And I really enjoyed reporting it, and thank you very much, Duncan. I'd love if this podcast opened with more praise regarding me.
Well, you've got yourself one reader, because I'm going to make sure I read that one.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. Alex Casey's my favourite writer.
She's really good.
She's really good.
Here we go.
Thankfully, I know that none of the other writers in that room listen to this podcast to be offended by that. So, hey, we got to hang with some corns. There was a Bulletin 5th birthday event.
We did.
On Thursday last week. And God, it was a good time. We had flowers and canapes. It was very professional for us.
It was a really, really good time.
It wasn't a real pod event, which is why it was
It was
so
a Bulletin event, but what I like is the fact that I feel like sometimes you can think that the cornies are
just ours.
They're just ours, and they just all they do is listen to the real pod, and they're not part of the world.
No. Turns out they are, though.
Yeah, they came to listen to Ana Rafiti Kono and Alex Bray explain how the hell the Bulletin is made, but they also had great chats with you and me. It was like lovely.
Yeah, so the Cornies, for anyone who isn't across this, are members of the Real Pod Corner. You can find the link to that. It's a Facebook group that we have, and there's a link in the show notes along with a link to our Discord. And who did we see? We saw Sophie. I saw Zay's husband Ben came along, sort of to represent her.
Carol Green.
Carol. I didn't get to say hi to Carol, but you did.
I did.
And there were a couple of others. Sorry, I can't check you. Liza.
Nera.
Or Lisa. I'm not quite sure. I'm sorry if we had.
And Nera.
Just a bit. God, it was good.
And Frankie, maybe?
So good. And Sophie gave us sweatshirts from Able.
Yeah,
it was just so nice. And then we got into big chats about MAFS AU. It was just a dream.
How did you identify each other? Was there the finger guns across the room? Was there corn
It was the
badge?
whispering. It was the whispering and then the immense sorrow.
No, they came and identified themselves to me.
Yeah.
But we love that. Always come and say hello, because I just feel sad about the couple of people who I now know were there that I didn't get to talk to.
It also just shows you the power of being a spin-off member, because you get invited to things like this. And,
Get to hang with us.
okay. It was a really good event, and we were throwing a gift with purchase, if you will.
Yeah, if that's what you want.
Like a free upsize.
I mean, maybe they were there despite the fact that we were there, you know?
You know that's not true, Jane. Stop. Like, we really need to sell memberships. You're really diminishing the power of it.
Okay, yeah.
I was trying to do an ad.
Such a bonus. To become a member, get to say hi to us. What a great sell.
Well, like, you can do that just through randomness, but here you basically guarantee if you get a spin-off event.
Selfie, tag your flatties, all of it. All right. Should we play the real news sting now? Is that a good time? I don't know how real news this is, but you talked about gardening last week, so let's pick up where you left off. I had an epiphany listening to your gardening chat.
Wow.
And I want you to know that I was not sad about the gardening chat. You weren't out of control. You weren't out of line. Love gardening chat.
Great.
But I have
what's the epiphany?
Well, I have a really conflicted relationship with gardening, and I couldn't figure out why it was that I felt slightly ill at ease about your discussion. And I realised that when you got to the end and you said the reason you were enjoying gardening so much was watching things grow, right? And seeing something that you'd taken care of grow.
Well, that was what Alex said.
That's what Alex said. And then I realised that my entire gardening relationship at the moment is about knocking things back and killing things off. That, like, it's a burden, that the lawns need mowing and the hedges need clipping and the tree's going to start dropping those horrible beastly fruit. And I want to get back to the place where I'm growing things, nice things, lovely things.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I'm much more of a you type of gardener at the moment. In fact, I had to fell a feijoa tree on the weekend and cut it to pieces.
The Lord's work.
Oh no!
Because it's been infested with guava moth,
and it
doesn't go away, and it just, like, all we're doing is propagating it and spreading it further. But it was, you do feel, so I got out my little electric chainsaw.
How big your feijoa tree?
I don't know, like, you want me to come and get yours?
I do.
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, do you know how to stump the stump thing?
Well, I got it down to, like, flat with the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do anything more than that. But
Mine quite big.
it is an emotional thing to cut down a tree. I don't feel good about it, but I understand that the guava moth is not. It's not stopping.
There's only one thing
Can't be
worse
rid of.
than feijoas for me, and that's feijoas riddled with guava moth.
Yeah.
Blech. Nothing like opening up when you
in the
think of a lovely,
compost.
lovely feijoa and finding it all nasty inside. Sometimes you see a little...
Well, look, our feijoas are coming
course.
in, and I cannot
Yeah,
wait.
no, you're in the good part of the country, which
This
is
is
not all the
becoming a
good part.
gardening podcast.
It is. I've also done one more thing in the past week. I found a sprouting onion in the back of the cupboard.
I've got some of
And I
those.
split
Straight
that
in
little
the
bad
ground.
boy up, find the little bulbs, plant them in, and oh my God, I'm an onion wizard. There's 3 onions now out of one old onion.
Oh,
Yes.
huge news.
I mean, I've got to wait like 100 days, but
I'm
by
really
gum,
looking
when
forward
they come in,
to seeing the spin-off piece. I am an onion wizard.
It's coming. You know it's coming.
it's truly magic. And I'm glad that you enjoyed the garden chat. I think we could have a regular segment sponsored by...
King's Plant Barn. King's Plant Barn.
King's Plant
It's owned by
Barn.
the mysterious Japanese billionaire.
I'm an odorings country. We have different... It's all different. It's different down here.
Well, look, we're available. If you're listening, big garden.
King, that is your real name.
Come at us.
Disclaimer that we're recording on a Monday. We normally record on a Tuesday, but I am actually heading down to see Alex, kind of. Well, you're a bonus part of my trip to Christchurch.
Sort of a byproduct.
It's sort of a byproduct. But yeah, I'm heading down to Christchurch for a project, and I'm doing some little bit of work with Alex while I'm down there. So that's exciting. You're not coming though, eh, Duncan? Sorry.
Not invited, so...
Well, you can pay your own way and come down if you like. Take some annual leave.
No.
You'll be welcome.
No.
We're going to have such a good time.
No.
We're going to have such a great
Duncan's
time.
already done his 4 hours in Christchurch.
I did, and I tried to meet up with Alex. There was no taking
Hey, we
of
should
the
go to
offer.
we should go to the art
I've got a
gallery.
half an hour window.
We should go to the art gallery
Great window.
and relive that fantastic live pod we did that time. Just the two of us.
We should. I return to that room every Monday night for the Canterbury Film Society.
Wow, you're
and I
so
think of it
cultured.
often.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
There's a lot of culture down here. People say things, but
I do say things.
I can hear Samuel laughing.
Yeah.
Samuel says things.
Samuel's from Wellington too, by the way. That is culture personified. They have all the coffee and music and arts and library books and all of the good
That
culture
real
things.
bad sign.
Theatre, you know. In other news in my world, went to the Proclaimers on Saturday night. Great time. Would have walked 500 miles and would have walked 500 more to see them. Also, we've got Knits again. Not me personally,
no.
but yeah, the Knits saga continues. I got very cocky with my handling of the Knits situation, and it's resurfaced.
Maybe bald the family.
Bald the family?
Yeah, I mean, it's not off the table. It's not off the table. If this continues throughout 2023, we are going to be a hairless family by
It'd be
2024.
tragic because you've all got very lovely hair. Like some families are, it's fine. But it'd be a real shame if the Yee household had to
Bald
go bald.
ourselves. Yeah. Anyway, what about you? Anything to report from
No,
life?
I had a lovely 40th birthday for former spin-off GM Kerry-Ann Nelson on Friday.
Happy birthday, Kerry-Ann.
Had to do a little speech, reminiscing about the old times. Got emotional looking through old pictures, and you know, just that was good. Went to the cricket. It was very short.
Did we win?
We did. It was a crushing victory, and. No, I'm just excited about going. I've got 3 sleeps. 3 sleeps. I got to go on an aeroplane. Very exciting.
Not to Christchurch, though, is it?
No,
Not as exciting as going to Christchurch.
No. Houston is no Christchurch as far as destination goes.
Alex,
Yeah.
can you tell us about something that you bought on the internet from someone?
Well, I teased the Fockers group chat a few days ago, as I'm sure you both remember.
To the point, can I just say, to the point where I was just not going to do the podcast this week because I was going to be on a plane to Christchurch. And I was like, you guys can do it. And then I was like, what? Alex has got something. And if I'm not there, I'm not going to know what it is. And I have to find out at the same time as everyone else. Can we please move the record forward so I can be there first? So I've been waiting.
I had to leave a meeting
And it's
early
also-
to be here. I think I'm going to
That's
get in trouble.
amazing.
I can detect it.
Also, there's just no suggestion that I could possibly tell you just in our real life. No, it's like, I can only say things on the pod.
Exactly.
I like to do like cliffhanger teasers in real life. I said, bought something off Designer Wardrobe from a bachelorette, but hoops, you'll have to wait to the podcast to find out. So what I bought was a teeny tiny, far too small for me, little lavender knitted vest.
Oh, who would that
And
be?
I bought it
Shari.
off Alicia Brown from Invercargill, aka
Yes,
third placer on
yes.
The Bachelor season 1.
Wow.
Can you believe
I
it?
can still picture
And I
them
even-
between the vines.
She was lovely. And now I think she was a teacher at the time, and she runs a whole bunch of little businesses now and little secondhand clothing thingies. So I messaged her, you know, as you do. And I asked her, oh, my designer, the app's frozen. It's a glitchy app. I'm not like, you can see this.
Do you need to
It's
update?
a-
Oh,
No,
there
it
it
just
is.
came up.
It's a
Just come
glitchy app.
through.
It's a glitchy app. Anyway, she confirmed, not only has she confirmed it was her, but she was like, and I think I remember your name too.
Whoa. Because that was when you were you were ranking, and those rankings were absolutely ginormous.
That was peak.
On
that was
Facebook.
the peak of my
It
career.
was.
It was so much fun publishing those rankings the second The Bachelor finished, and they would just be monstrous. And remember, we'd do the podcast right
I
after
know,
the episodes,
drinking
and they would be
Lindauer.
monstrous too.
And it was just, it was special because it was like a social media era where people were under their own names say interesting and excited stuff and just that about a piece of content. And now that would just be such weird behavior. Like I can't imagine a person doing that unless the content was like, you know, really aggressively terrible.
Yeah. It died with The Bachelorette season 1, I think. That was the last great collective. In terms of Bachelor Nation in New Zealand, I feel like that was
What happened to us?
COVID.
Yeah.
COVID. Oh, God. What was season 1? Which one was season 1? Lucina and
That was Lucido Lily.
Oh, God,
Remember, 'cause we went
AMOG.
into lockdown when they were in Argentina.
Yeah.
And that was like just this beautiful escape for everybody. For these men who were literally trapped in prison in Argentina.
What a time.
Oh, beautiful time.
Art Green has on Instagram been detailing putting up a fence, like a one-man band with his top off constantly. I feel quite rude watching it. But I also have a feeling of pride thinking as I watch him putting in fence posts, concreting, kit setting this, huge, very, very nice looking, expensive looking fence together across this whole property. And I'm like, beat you in a challenge to put together a barbecue. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I might not have
Why
beaten
don't you
him
get
if
in
it
the
was
comments and just be bagging him out the whole time about remember the barbecue challenge?
Yeah, would that do that on my burner account? Because I don't want to.
Why didn't you do that in your main? I feel like being sassy on main is cool.
I'm like, loser,
Speaking of Art Green, I've been thinking about him recently. You mentioned his shirtlessness. Because Joe and I have become obsessed with a show I know you're passionate about, Duncan, called Physical 100 on Netflix. And we started, it's this incredible Korean show that takes the strongest, gnarliest athletes and just general buff people. There's a really buff car dealer. And puts them in these crazy physical challenges. And it has this kind of Squid Game sort of premise where everything's quite dramatic and they get axed and they have to smash their own torsos and things like that. But we're trying to cast a New Zealand version. And I was like, shit, imagine Art Green in a show like this. It would be incredible. Surely he would be top tier.
I think he would be because he does seem like he's extremely swole, but he seems to be also like it's not just a pure show thing. Like the bodybuilders on the show don't do as well as you'd expect because it's quite a narrow physiological thing that they can do, whereas some of the other the wrestlers do really well, crossfitters do really well, gymnasts do pretty well, even some of the fitness influencers who can be quite slight is surprisingly great. It's such a fun show to watch.
But it also could be quite good to see Art not being necessarily the very best in the world at something.
like when he tried to assemble a barbecue that one time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, had it been him from the word go, probably wouldn't have won that. I was just lucky to be up against Maddie. Anyway.
Disagree. Cut that out, Samuel. That's just not accurate.
No, leave it in. I want to just say that I've been watching Location as comfort watching.
The UK version?
Yeah, of course, Phil and Kirsty. I think we need to bring it back. There was a version in 1999. Michael Bulgaris, celebrity real estate agent, if you will, he hosted it. I think we need to bring back LLL.
We definitely need to bring it back.
I think the time is now when the market sucks because people can actually afford houses, and I think I should host it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a real estate agent, but I am very, very interested in real estate.
Well, me and Nikki talk about bringing back location almost constantly. I also think she should host it. Maybe it's just the two of you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd make a great team.
Yeah, I agree.
We get quite competitive. But
yeah,
in
which
a
is
fun,
what you
cheeky
need.
way.
Yeah, but you can still be mates.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So there's a show ready to go. Please, Warner Brothers, if you're listening, or South Pacific Pictures, if you're listening, or any other product. Don't be the one who misses out.
Alex Casey, yours, please.
I have some supporting data on this as well, because the fantastic Tara Ward, best television writer in the country, please read everything that she does, wrote a piece about location, I think last week, and it had 700 comments on Facebook.
I mean,
about our passion for the show. And that's from a local audience,
Yeah.
They want to watch that.
Bernard Hickey could have me as a guest on his podcast talking about housing.
I don't think he'd do that.
I could find Bernard a new house. How about that?
I think Bernard's happy with this.
I'd watch
He is
that.
looking, isn't he?
I don't know.
I think he's renting, but
Anyway.
he's looking.
We're getting quite off-piste, aren't we?
Him and
Personal.
Lynn.
Okay, reality check.
I have 4 weeks to decide if I'm going to drop my entire frugal outfit.
I am disgusted at how much you have copied my husband.
You're just fine. I don't even know you.
Reality check.
Speaking of homes, it's Homestay Week on Married at First Sight this week. It's the second to it's actually the third to last week, isn't it?
It is. I forgot that we have a reunion week as well, and that's where the true drama comes out after everyone's gone back to the real world and all the Daily Mail stories.
Yeah, that's almost what I'm hanging out for most. Like I'm not mad at the fact that I'm going to miss the commitment ceremonies because I think it's pretty clear which way most of those are going now. You do sometimes get the absolute hurricane strength. Was it Tracy Jewell did a real good burner of Dean? But for the most part, there's just a lot of schmaltzy music and a lot of walking down a bloody
and a lot of very
tree-lined
deliberate red
avenue.
herring type speeches, like where they make it sound like they're going to X things just before whipping it around, going, "But I love you, and let's do this."
It's true.
But we're in the last good week.
Yeah,
this was such a good week. I thought this was. You forget how good it is just to see people, because there used to be more of this, right? On MAFS, early MAFS, it was more. Let me show you my world.
I mean, very early
And,
MAFS. The first MAFS,
the
there was no staying in apartments. It was purely just staying at each other's actual houses.
Was the first season of MAFS 6 episodes long?
Oh, probably it was
the Danish.
No,
or
the
Swedish,
first Australian season. I found I have to get my maths on pirate now because the whole system that brought us our early maths seems to have broken down. But this site, which I won't name, has got the full catalogue, and it's making me real tempted to go revisit the early seasons because they're so short.
Yeah, they're actually really good, but it's an entirely different show.
Yeah,
I think there's one dinner party for the whole thing, and I think
I'm surprised there's even that many.
That went quite well, and I think they went okay.
By
quite well, I mean it went terribly, and then they realised what they had. I think they stumbled across that. Should we start with? We'll start with Tahnee and Ollie because it's a nice way to start. It's a wonderful, couldn't be more perfect way to start.
Yeah, it does mean that we're just going to have to talk about terrible stuff for the rest of the show, but that's fine. They're just really nice.
I was proud of Ollie, first of all. I don't know, did you both watch the commitment ceremony when he opened up about not feeling good enough, and he said that when they swapped partners, he started to feel insecure and that he's felt not good enough in all facets of his life. And I was like, the sad clown. Aww. I love you.
But also, has he not seen his own impressions? Come on.
Oh, so good when he did the What's in the Box from 7. We love him.
It was really good. I mean, but it is like... He's, as we have sort of previously discussed, he's clearly the best guy on the show now, and he's the one who's seemingly the most insecure, the least secure, depending on how you put it, and it's just kind of wild.
I still want to make a case for Duncan as the best guy on the show.
Duncan is not doing jokes for you.
No,
Do you not like jokes?
I love jokes.
Enough.
I love jokes, but in terms of Ollie's had a pretty easy ride because Tahnee's also amazing, and I think that Duncan has been amazing in the face of adversity.
Yeah, great. He's a 9.5, but Ollie's a 10 because he's got jokes.
Ollie will move anywhere for Tahnee.
Yeah.
He will move, doesn't matter where in the world.
Into Tahnee's I don't know how to finish that joke, but
Tahnee's tiny.
it's a tiny house. It really is. It's so small.
It's not a house. It's just a tiny room with a kitchen and a toilet in it.
But it's also really, for some reason, it really suits Tahnee. And it's, you can imagine her being totally delighted by it.
Huge Alex Casey energy. You've got the tiniest of all tiny rooms. It's a noisy kitchen, I've thought, for the tiny room. But some of that space she's chosen to dedicate a wall shelf just for Crocs. Just for Crocs.
Oh, and Balenciaga trainers.
Crazy trainers.
Crazy trainers.
Big bookies.
But isn't it a good use of space to
go outwards? Yes. But you could also
ascending?
put, I don't know, books. Or
No need.
I need.
What's a book ever done?
And she's got her little mate. The funniest thing when he was like addressed the producer was like, it's funny, she's going through and like describing all these spaces in the same room as different rooms. And then she was like, where we are right now, I'm sitting in a different room to you. Very cute. I do love him.
Very charming. I also love their open and honest toilet conversation. You know, he said, I still don't think you do poos, and that's all about to change. I might have to pop out for a bit. Nothing brings a couple together like a very small living space.
Or tears them apart. We do need to see them move into a new space together. I think it'd be lovely for them to start cohabitate in a new space that is neutral ground, and they can just build from there this wonderful life that they are going to have together till the end of time. Amen.
I'm worried about that stinky fish tank in that small space as well, because they've both kind of sniffed it and said it's going to reek until the end of time or something.
I want to know where the fish are. I was thinking when they were walking down the street to her apartment, he's carrying the fish tank. She's got suitcase. I'm like, the fish better not be in the suitcases. And if they're not on your person, where are they?
It's a good
Where are they?
question. Maybe they return them to the sea with like a little note, like Finding Nemo.
Oh, don't put freshwater fish in the sea. Don't do that. It's not good for them.
Well, it's suddenly become an aquatic pod. It's crazy high-level advice.
I want to talk about a big scandal that happened with Ollie and Tahnee, which didn't make it onto the television. Are you two aware of what happened during their hometowns?
No.
Oh, okay. So we saw in the supercut at the very start where they were sort of just reflecting on the week. John Aitken was talking some psychobabble pseudoscience about something. And they cut to Ollie and Tahnee in an op shop, dressed up like, kind of old men coming out of changing rooms and
good
stuff.
outfits.
So they shot a whole sequence op shopping together. And guess who gate crashed the shoot? NASA Sultan!
No.
Yes, he somehow found out they were shooting in Bondi, and there's a whole story about, again, Daily Mail, terrific website, about how he insisted on barging in. They were told not to make eye contact with him.
Oh, so he's just become this like renegade. Wow.
Yeah. And then out of like retaliation, because he was either on camera or just like lurking in the background like David Brent, they just had to cut the whole sequence.
Oh my God, should have left it in, truly.
I know.
I know NASA's award-winning NASA is not, I guess it's not quite a good human, right? But I do enjoy
Yeah,
these
I think
wild stories.
the problem is I think they can't, if they were to put it in,
Just encourage it.
where do you think NASA is next time there is a like a hot mic and a camera with a little red light on it? Like he is just going to be around. Like he's going to find out everything, and he'll just be there with his vacuum cleaner and without his pants, and that's just how he operates.
Now that you guys are grown-up, non-social media people, can I tell you this? Not one, but 2 cornies have encountered NASA in the wild. In recent times.
Wow.
That's scary.
And
How
up
is
until
that?
this
That's
point,
crazy.
I'd be like, that's probably a coincidence. But now I'm thinking, is he in the corner sniffing out where cornies are? Because any tentacle he can get into the MAFS universe, he's going to give it a hoon.
God, he's onto us, eh?
Oh.
I also read in that Daily Mail story, I think he lied about going to the Arias. I don't think he made it in. When he told us that he was like the most photographed man on the red carpet, I think he got kicked out.
Was he most photographed because there was a scuffle?
I always feel like he'd be a good profile.
Photographed by police when he was arrested. He would be a good profile. He does represent, I think that's like part of why I have this ongoing like affection for him, is I think he represents like a lot like the tragedy of the fallen reality star, what happens when the cameras stop rolling on you and stuff.
Sinead had that great yarn where she found, who was it? They were just down at the viaduct sifting about.
It was Wayno and Gareth.
That's
from
right.
MAFS
Holy moly.
Season 3.
And it was just so,
Throwback.
it's the same thing. It's like I was talking to this former, are they called the whatever the New Zealand women's football team is, and just talking to her about that adjustment to post-fame. It's obviously a different thing because she was in the team for 13 years and is amazing. Shout out to Katie Duncan. But like, I think for an ordinary person goes through life, then it's just like this white-hot heat of fame for like 3 months, and then just has to kind of process just being a civilian again, and it's just going to be a lot. And for some people, notably NASA, they never can get back to right.
I just went back to normal life.
From the reputable, beautiful journalism source, the Daily Mail, notorious Married at First Sight star NASA Sultan clashed with red carpet security at the ARIA Awards.
Oh, we were correct.
After being turned away, NASA was later seen making angry phone calls and wandering around the venue before eventually making it onto the red carpet.
Well, he did make it in.
He did get
Well, no, hang on.
photographed.
It doesn't say he
But
made
he
it into
didn't
the
make
venue.
it into the awards.
So it's like he just like threw himself at it.
Oh, look at him. It's quite a strong look. Does look quite
Cool.
cool. Does look. Let him on, I say.
Wow, YouTuber, a sponsor of the Arias. I wish we lived in Australia. We had real good sponsors.
I just want to draw attention to the fact that Duncan in the room in situ just did something real weird.
I was just stretching.
He put his hand out flat on the table quite near me, not like uncomfortably near, but I thought he was trying to get my attention. And then when I looked down at his hand, he like curled it
No,
away.
I just
and
whipped it
shaved.
away because I'm just trying to like stretch. Something. I'm
Like the witch's feet
getting
in The
old.
Wizard of Oz.
Like, I kind of feel like I always have to stretch. What's this called? Inside your elbow? What's that called?
The inside of your elbow.
Science corner will bloody tell me. Anyway, I'm worried. We've got 22 minutes to
No
rank
time.
all of the rest of the contestees.
Don't worry, we're already a sixth of the way through.
Do you find it hard staying optimistic with all the financial news in the media? I'm Bernard Hickey, and on my podcast, When the Facts Change, I'm here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of economics in Aotearoa. So join the conversation every Friday on When the Facts Change, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in partnership with KiwiBit.
Leighton and Melinda they've had a very tumultuous week.
The most trivial fight in MAFS
That was
history.
such
That
good
voiceover.
It was.
So good.
So, at the time, I was like, whoa, all this ruining the canoe. I mean, to be fair, I would not want to kayak on the state of that river. I'd rather not. That's one river you don't want to fall into. Very muddy brown.
Yeah, it
No
was.
thanks.
Sure,
And a lovely date that she had organised just went to pot because they had a fight about an open cupboard door. But who hasn't had this fight? This is the most real thing ever. Having a nice evening out completely ruined because you had a fight about a dumb thing, like the dumbest of things.
Yeah.
That's real life. They're already like living
is.
life on the outside.
That's why, like, there's part of me that's like, I feel like they might. I mean, aside from Tahnee and Ollie, I still back them. I still believe in them because they have these stupid fights. I'm like, that's just a relationship, you know?
I totally agree. I think that their transition to the real world, they've already done it.
And surely it makes your fights worse because you can't back down and there's a camera there. Like, well, at least when there's a camera not there, you can probably be a bit weird or like, I don't know, like when you just storm off, it's not quite so millions of people are watching, you know, like you just go and have your little storm off. Not that I
I
do
want
any
to
of
know
that.
when Melinda was like, I have to take myself out of this situation because I'm going to say something.
You want to know what she would
that
have
I
said?
regret. I want to know what she was going to say. If she could just like whisper into her hot mic, like, hey guys. But I did think, I don't love, it seems horrible for them, but the way that their fights do escalate into this way where we got this incredible confession from Leighton where he's like, we've got a lifetime to work through this. We've had 10 weeks in the experiment. I'm 35 and I can't even tell my dad I love him. And I was like, whoa, where did that come from? Where did that come from, Leighton?
But it was apparent that he had that conversation with her at some point about him with his dad because he kind of said something like, I've told you this. And then she went, you can tell your mum that you love her and you can tell the other guys in the experiment that you love. And that was he was getting up and walking off after that, like, don't mess with my bros, you know? Yeah. But it is a different thing. In his defense, telling someone, you know, saying, I love you, mate, versus I love you. And when you hear this, it probably means you think we're going to stay married for the rest of time. You know, the stakes are slightly higher. But overall, I think I err on the side of Mel and their tension. I really like her.
I really like her as well. I think she's incredibly cool and smart and there for the right reasons and all the rest of it. I do think, and Leighton clearly does have this kind of, you know, like he just can't sort of understand some of how she is. That being said, she does quite often, you know, see cupboard gate, you know, probably leap a bit further than it might be, you know, acceptable in a situation, but it's fine.
I think she's feeling insecure.
She has a dust mite allergy.
Yeah.
It's very serious.
I mean, when your cupboards have been for weeks and you've been in an apartment in Sydney for weeks, your clothes are getting dust on them. And
Okay, just quick aside on that. Again, a lot of these homes don't look like they're actual houses.
No, they really don't.
They look real Airbnb rented for the day.
apart from Tahnee's, I do
Apart from
believe that's
Tahnee.
hers.
Oh, Tahnee is definitely hers. You could not stage that.
Can't make that up.
But
Even
also-
Duncan's, I was just like, I mean...
Yeah.
I buy Duncan's.
I buy Duncan's.
As real.
It vibes like it would be his place, but so many of the apartments were just completely Spartan, including Melinda's.
I had a big argument with my mum last night, like a full-on fight. about Gogglebox, Celebrity Gogglebox, and we were watching it, and she's like, "Isn't it great how they go into their homes?" And I was like, "I don't think they're their homes, Mum." And she was like, she would not have it that there was a possibility that they shot in like a staged lounge. I'm like, it's somebody's home. I just don't necessarily think that Ed Sheeran has got Gogglebox over his
Ed
place.
Sheeran would, but almost no one else would.
I know, but it was just like, but also the very, very, very staged, like you'd have two young blokes with a lot of like plants in the background. No, I don't want to say that blokes can't raise plants, but I feel they can't. You know, we know the difficulties between us here in gardening chat.
But have you seen this?
I know.
Samuel's
Yeah, I
raising?
just want to say the Monstera, when I got my hands on it, was dying. The leaves were drooping. It was on the verge. And now we've got 3 beautiful new leaves.
Are you seriously going to take all the credit for this? Because
He has been.
Who suggested that it go in this corner?
Annabelle Lee Mather.
Thank you.
No, he said that Annabelle coached him.
Yeah, Annabelle's my mentor. Annabelle's my real boss.
Okay, I don't think we need to give Gone by Lunchtime any more credit, to be fair, because they already smoke us in every way.
They really do.
Anyway, so I had a fight with my... So, you know, having worked in reality television, and you'll know this, Alex, having also worked in reality television, sometimes things aren't as they seem. And sometimes the houses you see people in aren't necessarily theirs.
I believe this to be true, but I do want to believe, particularly in Bronte's apartment, that it was her real apartment. Because there's something about the strange, uncanny nature of Bronte that I think is reflected well in that, like, bare walls, one Prada coffee table book,
Yeah.
and like horrible sort of eerily moving blinds and a white duvet. And she's like, I want to show him all that I am. And I was like, that is a metaphor.
But it was lovely. They did find the one thing they have in common, white sheets.
And that was just shocking revelation.
Shocking revelation.
Wow.
Leighton and Melinda, I think that come vows, I feel like they'll stick at it. I think they care about each other too much. I do think that my opinion of Leighton changed ever so slightly when at the dinner party she answered there was an opportunity for her to answer the honesty box questions in quite a stink mean way, and I thought she was very kind to him with her answers.
Oh, she
even
said
going
she bloody
so
loved
far
him.
as to saying that she was in love with him, and he was like, well, how can you be if we can't communicate?
But that is just Leighton obviously has this, like, you know, I must tell the truth kind of problem, which is obviously not how relationships work.
Take a moment to say that's so beautiful and
I know,
wonderful
but he's
to hear.
such a weirdo that he can't do it, and you're like,
It was
sweet boy.
clearly her bringing the
It was
biggest
very,
of
very
bloody
nice, yeah.
olive branches to the table, and he just shot it down. Anyway, I felt really sad for her. The moment that you tell someone you're in love with them should be a special moment, not a reason to go to town on. Anyway. Who next? Cam and Lyndall.
Oh my God, Cam's hometown and his friends and the fish and everything about it. I loved this trip. I loved the trip to Dundee to try and save the relationship. Just like seeing Cam in the outback. I know we'll get to like Cam is bad and it was horrible, but from the moment he recommended that Lyndall chuck on a pair of Canterburys, did you catch this?
I know, this is the New Zealand brand, do we think?
This is the New Zealand
Of course
brand.
it is.
With the 3 Kiwis hidden in the logo.
What? They're Kiwis and not C's? Someone's discovering that for the
Amazing
first time,
piece
by
of
the way.
design.
Someone is discovering that for the first time
It's
right
a
now.
joy.
And the shapes on the shapes packets are in the shapes of the shapes. Just mull on that. The big white shape on the shapes packet is the shape of the shapes inside the shapes box. Yes.
Wow!
Yes.
It is wow.
Yes.
Incredible.
But can we just talk about the kissing of the fish when they got to the was it the Barramundi?
Barramundi.
You know how people
Barramundi
talk about
fish?
once in a lifetime opportunities, and usually they are good things. Like death is also a once in a lifetime thing, right? But it's not like usually very good. Like it's not necessarily something you aim for. You're breaking your leg, similar. You know, these are once in a lifetime things. Kissing a fucking giant fish like that, it leaps out of the water and freaks you out. Once in a lifetime for me, bad way.
I think it's cool.
I think it's cool.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I
it's
just think
casting
that
I do
vote.
it too. I would do it. I would do it. I think it's cool and scary.
Yeah.
But do you think it's really built up to be like, wow, you really could, this is why you should be here in the Northern Territory, because you have a once in a lifetime experience like this. That's it. You've peaked. You've had the best experience you can possibly have here. Move here now.
I do think that the Territorian lifestyle looked cool. Like I liked, but it did feel quite wild and like that that kind of like pavilion on the water where there are these giant fish and they just sit there and drink beer because it's too hot to live. And they all drive around these utes, and he's got this incredibly scary knife for like shanking a pig. The whole thing was just it was like, I can see how it could get its hooks into you. Not into me, to be clear, city boy, but to a person.
A lot of sitting in camp chairs.
A lot of sitting, yeah. Imagine what happens.
Cam summed up when they went to Dundee to try and save the marriage. He was like, "This is Dundee. Everyone comes here and sits and just, yeah." I was like, "What a great tagline!" I
do feel like when they talk about nobody, like a lot of people coming, falling in love, and never leaving, is like, did they fall in love with the place, or there are no roads or road signs? Did they just get stuck?
Wolf Creek as well, like you never leave because you're in the ground.
Exactly. What happens when you pick your nose in a place like that? Very hot, very dusty, very dry. Orange boogers, orange dust boogers for days, I reckon.
And that's keeping them there?
I'm just thinking about the other things that Linda would have to sacrifice, like nice clean nose.
I'm concerned. We've got 11 minutes left and we haven't talked about how bad Cam is. I'm just
can see
concerned.
Duncan. I can tell that Duncan's
out.
fidgeting. Okay. I can feel the energy.
Like, Cam, just... He's not kissing or hugging her at all, and out of the whole
kissing the fish.
So out of the whole trip, the one he's like, "Well, I tried to give you a kiss when you were incredibly upset, and you denied me, and that's enough." Like, what is the like? I get it. Like, obviously, Mum is not great, and I'm annoyed that we didn't get to meet her
Cam
again.
Cam sucks. Don't make any excuses. Cam sucks this week. Bad. He sucks because he's strung her along this far, and she's perfect. She's not stepped a foot out of line. She has tried so hard to meet him, God, not even in the middle, but literally in Darwin. Like, she's not stepped a foot wrong, and he has just, the way that he breaks news to her at dinner parties, shit. Last week it was...
Or on the couch or anywhere there's a public forum.
Last time it was like how long he was going to be away for. Like, he told her maybe 6 weeks, and then he stretched it to a year when he was in front of everyone else. And then this week he tells her he isn't falling in love with her. It's the first she hears of it. And up until now, they've been talking about, her possibly moving to Darwin, not seeing him ever, and she's still considering that as a possibility, you know what I mean? Because she cares for him so much.
It's terrible.
It's so bad.
I do think Cam is just not ready.
He is so not ready.
Cam should not have. And I also kind of, I get a bit grumpy with the show. If you knew that this man was going to have to, work in the middle of nowhere for two out of the next 3 years or whatever, like, maybe don't marry him off to somebody.
But they did make clear.
I did feel he was under the plate.
No, because he said that he was willing to give it all up for the right person, and it just turned out that he'd assessed Lyndall objectively perfect and decided that she's not the right person.
This is true.
Because it's a weird show this year, right, where there's at least 4 by my count objectively perfect people who've done nothing wrong. 2 of them are matched in a couple, that's Tahnee and Ollie. And then you've got Duncan and Lyndall, who have also taken some pretty gnarly hands and basically made 0 errors that of any consequence. And then the rest are some, real ratbags.
Well, so our next couple are Evelyn and Rupert, who sort of sit outside of it all.
That's true.
Their relationship just hasn't developed enough. Well, I mean, it developed a little this week. They had sex together, and I just feel like Rupert's a bit of an L, he's a bit of an L. He's just a little bit not quite self-aware, or even if he was self-aware, he wouldn't know what to do with it. He's a bit too not ready compared to Evelyn for this kind of relationship.
He's definitely got that.
Evelyn is just amazing.
She's so great.
When Evelyn When Cam dropped that bomb and said, I'm not falling in love
Yeah.
with you, and Linda was devastated, and Evelyn went over and consoled her, but then kind of had this moment that was both a kind of real life instinct and I think a very good reality TV instinct to go, that's not actually good enough, and walked over and went, Cam, you're an asshole. And Cam just obviously like could not handle that. As
Don't trip on your way out.
Don't trip on your way out.
God.
Got him.
Damn.
Like he didn't even.
And then
Evelyn
Harrison
is just
laughing at that,
phenomenal.
like it was funny.
Oh,
That was just
I
such a
know.
moment.
Then back to Cam just for a minute, because I'm still incensed about it. I've never been so mad about something, I feel like, which is just wild, because I've been just totally ambivalent about Cam for a long, long time. But when Evelyn went, you've been stringing her along, that was exactly how I felt, because he just hasn't really made any effort whatsoever, and he could see how much she was falling for him. But also, he said something along the lines of, actually the experiment's been, because they were all like, why did you even come here if you were never prepared to move and all that sort of thing? And he was like, yeah, well, actually, it's been a really good experience. I've learned a lot. Like, that, to me, reeks of Al, but bad Al, from last year, in the sense that I'm here to learn how to be a boyfriend, and I'm using someone else and breaking their heart in the process to do so. But he just didn't handle it with any sort of sensitivity when he... I'm not falling in love with you. That's just the way it is, and shove some more steak in his mouth.
I know. And he's like, he like loves an audience, right? Like when they were having that big fight up in the territory, he had his mate
his
there,
mate wanted to
and the
leave.
mate's like, I'd like to go, and I was like,
yeah.
no, you stay here. You stay here. It's like he can't have an honest conversation one-to-one with Lyndall. He always has to have a bunch of people around while he says this terrible stuff. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay, so Evelyn and Rupert, I mean, I don't think that they're not long-term. I'm not surprised that Rupert sort of isn't fully in, because he's worried that he's maybe not good enough for Evelyn or something, because...
Well, he isn't.
He isn't. Like, we can all see it, right?
Yeah, that's just
But
science.
she's not saying anything to make him think that.
No.
It's such a weird dynamic. And
Her
then
mum was cool.
Mum was
it's always
real
nice
cool.
to meet a mum.
Alyssa and... I've got Funkin written here. I mean Duncan. He's definitely not Funkin at the moment.
No, he's not. He never really is, to be honest.
No. I'm so
This
glad
was
not to handle
excruciating. Her and her mates with the you can see her every Wednesday and every second weekend. Is that good enough? And she's like, is there no world? Is there no possible world where he might meet her child, or they might live together with a child?
Yeah, I mean, she did get to that eventually on their last
So,
date.
eventually.
But that's something that she could have said right from the beginning, is like, look, as we start out, it's probably going to look a bit like this. But obviously, as we go on and the relationship becomes more committed, I'd love for you to be part of the family. And I think he would have been happy to hear that, but it was much more like set down like a challenge. And not just like a challenge, but like she was making it as unappealing an offer to him as possible to see how much he would put up with to prove his love to her. That's what it felt like to me.
Or not even to prove his love to her. Like, part of me is like, are you just trying to blow this thing up because you want to prove that there's just no way a single mum can have a relationship? Like, there's such weird stuff going on from her.
She is absolutely self-sabotaging.
I didn't like the way the friends were like needling Duncan as well, saying, it's probably fine because you'll be going out with the boys anyway, won't you? You've more time to go out with the boys. Like, kind of like creating this image of him, which they've clearly been fed from Alyssa, because she said she was in touch with him, throughout the whole experiment. Such a bad vibe from those friends.
Real rubbish friend. Yeah.
I think that,
Really
I mean,
bad
in my
friends.
mind, the nights that Alyssa's at home with her son, I feel like Duncan is literally sitting at home
20 minutes away.
waiting till Wednesday,
Yeah.
But also, where's her son been all this time?
I know. And he goes to school.
Presumably, he's got a babysitter
Yeah.
or a grandparent or someone who's looking after them. I'm sure that he wasn't tucked into her suitcase. So why not say, yep, these are my days where I have the kid and these are the days that I don't. And I could probably get a babysitter every now and again. Like, find a way to make it work. I think she's trying to push him into a point where he says something like, that's too hard, so she can go, see, I told you.
Yeah, you just can't do it when you've got a kid. And the friends almost feel like they're really pushing that narrative, like they don't want to lose their mate or something. I don't know, man.
She's
It's just such a bad vibe.
She takes every opportunity to kind of twist it in this quite evil way. Even at the commitment ceremony when Duncan revealed that he was crying about their last big fight, and she was like, "You didn't tell me that. Now I feel rejected.
Yeah.
Now I feel rejected. You didn't tell me. How am I supposed to be in a partnership where you won't share things with me?" And it was like, no shit, he doesn't share things with you. Look at the way you react.
He's been absolutely, he was funkin' at the beginning, having a great time, loving it. And I feel like we've watched him just go smaller and smaller and smaller into himself over the course of this. And it's really sad.
Yeah.
And
to his credit, he's handled it. Sorry, Jane.
No, you're right. He has handled it well, right? Even to the point where he admitted on camera, like he was the first person to put his hand up and say, "Oh, like I said a thing in front of the friends that maybe I didn't really mean, but like I was put in a position." He didn't wait for her to pull him up on that. He came forward with that all of his own accord. He's done everything right. He's handled everything so softly and always with a view to progressing the relationship and making her happy. And I have a horrible feeling that they're going to stay together at final vows, but it's not going to work out in the real world ultimately.
Yeah, I think we'll see that. I think he's not going to back down. Like he really likes
Yeah,
it, despite
he cried. He's trying to. She's come across so awful in these last couple of weeks, and like more and more so each time. The facial. Oh, I can't.
Yeah, but if he does leave, most eligible bachelor in
That's the thing.
Australia.
Like he's just been putting,
Congrats.
like he's just had 32 episode kind of arc of him just being Australia's best guy, and I don't imagine that like you could just build a whole show around him.
Should I do a DM slide and be like, 3 kids, see me as often as you want, Here's your chance to prove yourself. Sorry, I'm just so...
Are you sure?
I just really like him. I just think as a single mum, like it is tricky, and I think he's doing everything right.
Yeah.
Truly, like she will really struggle to find anyone.
It's a masterclass in how to go into a relationship with someone who's got a kid.
Yeah, it's wild. Anyway.
Even the experts are like, he's good. Like,
Yeah.
and it's tough for the experts to back anyone in this show because you never know. You never know what someone's going to reveal, but they're all in on Duncan.
Was it Alyssa who
Too
said to
bad.
Cam, "You've got this amazing woman in front of you"? Oh, no, it was Bronte, but they all agreed. I mean, it's the same can be said, right? Alyssa, you've got this amazing man. Don't think you realise what you've got, and I don't think you're going to regret it if you lose him. Anyway, Bronte and Harrison, we're fine.
I just want to know, Jane, do you still think that Bronte is not here just to be on the telly?
Well, I'm really struggling with that now. I do think she genuinely wanted it to work, but maybe for TV reasons. I don't know.
They're a very confusing couple.
I'm really over it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that her big kind of moment has come a week too late. I think I would have felt way better about it if she did this last week instead of saying stay on the couch.
No, but she has done it.
She hasn't plotted
She's
it
done
right,
it over
she
and
hasn't
over.
plotted it right.
Like
Yeah.
they both left and then they've returned because because it's TV and they want to do that. The only thing that this week that I really enjoyed was Kira just like
slaying him, eh?
calling him what it was a narcissistic gaslighting dickhead, and then get in the bin. There goes a coward. Like she just kept delivering these killer
I'll
lines.
show you out if you want. I think Kira on the couch.
Kira on the couch.
Kira on the show
She's
next year.
24.
She's even vaguely single. She's just such talent.
I've also never been more pleased to have a reality show not clear out a restaurant before they film in it. So good seeing like people at the other table just kind of like pretending not to look.
Oh, and just amazing that there was also a really good moment. I'm not sure. I think it was when they were coming in. There was like a little boy in the background who was just doing this like real good like head nod thing. But then Harrison afterwards being like, no one had any concerns for my safety. And I'm like, look, if you're going to be like a brick shit house, like can squat 300 kilos guy, people aren't going to be as concerned about your personal safety because you're that. Like that's just how things work with personal safety. And
It's
like
so funny.
the way that he just
It's like I was in the car park. It was really
there was
scary.
cars everywhere. Could have been run down.
Could have accidentally walked into one of the cars that were stationary. In
But
the car
even
park.
then, unless it was quite a big car, I'd be worried about the car. Like, that's a lot of man.
He is so funny to me by this stage, like hilarious. And he will look for anything to be the victim of, including I walked out to the car park and nobody checked on my personal safety. And he was just wandering around going, fuck this. And it felt quite jinxy.
I still miss the Harrison in his acting era. You know, the endometriosis and when he was like just like pretend crying and everyone else just going, what's going on with this man?
I also love when he came up with boundaries.
Trying to
Like
squeeze out tears.
he found his thing, which was boundaries that were never expressed to Bronte, but she crossed the line on them, and then he was like, fuck, that's good. And he's just really held on to it forever, even though it's been proven to be completely hypocritical at every turn. He's still just really clinging on to this. But my boundaries. He is.
My deal breaker.
Hilarious.
He's just deluded. I think it was Bronte was like, I've never met anyone like you. And he was
Thank
thank you. And she's like, I mean that in the worst way possible.
And he's like, but
and he's just chuffed, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, we finally got like what the closest thing to a Bronte mic drop. But yeah, like you say, she's had several goes at it already, kind of botched it. So I feel like it didn't quite have the gravity that it could have had.
Who's the are they, like, there's part of me that's terrified they're going to turn out to final vows, not stay together, but she's going to have another go. Like, who's the couple that didn't survive this dinner party? Is it them? Like, it looks like them because she's walked off and said done. But we have seen them come back together only to destroy each other.
I almost imagine that they were just for the clicks kind of thing.
Same. So I'm worried that it's Lyndall and Cam. Not that I'm worried. I mean, I think she's within her rights to walk based off that.
She absolutely should. Yeah.
But she needs to get her moment, so she won't. She needs to get her.
Her speech will be incredible because she's a very smart person. And I feel like Cam will not handle the truth hurtling at him.
Cam is destined for a life kissing only Barramundi for the rest of his days.
I don't know. I thought that was an interesting window, the fact that there's been a lot of ladies through the flat, just no girlfriends. I was like, so that's
how he rolls.
He just enjoys that.
All right, that's it. Next week, final vows. The week after, the episode we've all been waiting for, where they roll the tapes from earlier on in the season and people find out what each other was really like. Cannot wait. Thank you very much, guys.
Particularly to watch Harrison, you know, that thing where he just will... You have to literally repeat the exact phrase that he meant. You can't be an identical, a slightly different phrasing of an identical meaning. You know, like that stuff will just be... I just can't wait, especially with the experts not letting them off the hook anymore.
He's just going to say, but see, didn't say it. I didn't say that. Didn't say exactly that. So I wasn't lying. Lying.
Can't remember.
No, I don't really. Can't. My eyes are shut. I can't see. I can't hear.
Also, can I say before we go, this show outrated the news for 25 to 54-year-olds at the start of March. Humongous. This podcast should be going out to more people. If you know anyone, if you're chatting with your friends about MAFS and they don't listen to this podcast, give it a rec. We've got a few weeks left. We'd love to get some new MAFS fans on board.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't tell them how long it takes us to wrap up the end of a podcast, though. That might put them off. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Duncan. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Cornies. Thank you, members. See you next week.
Kia ora e te iwi, Te Aihe Butler here, podcast manager at The Spinoff. If you enjoy listening to our podcasts, consider supporting our mahi by signing up to become a Spinoff member at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
The Spinoff Podcast Network.